Well, welcome back to our discussion about software appliances. In this chapter, we're going to discuss the benefit to ISVs. Matt, really, if you had to sum it up for our viewers, what's really in it for the ISVs here?
When we started with the Appliance program, when we started the design point here, it was about making it easy and gaining access to some of the benefits we talked about for their end customers in the last episode, and providing that almost immediately. So we started with two things, and that's one, being able to extend your existing applications to the cloud, and we talked a little bit about that last time, so giving new markets there. And the other one was shortening your sales cycle. We talked about that in the last chapter as well. So to take that down a layer very quickly, it's about fast and easy implementation, plug and play, and how do we give you the tools to make that possible? It's about making the support matrix simpler, and how do you make those support calls easier? It's about entering new markets, right? How do you become the easy enter new market for a customer? And really those are the three major capabilities we're trying to enable for the ISVs.
Al, does that parallel what you're thinking at IDC is on this?
Yeah, very much so. So when we look at really the dynamics in this market, the ISVs traditionally have had to sell into a really specific market segment where they've got an application that requires this infrastructure software to be in place and this version of the operating system. And if they show up in the shop as the wrong version of the operating system or uses a different operating system altogether, they really can't even sell it because they'd be trying to sell an operating system choice as well. Suddenly, the marketplace changes where you show up and say, do you have a hypervisor available on one of your servers? We can sell you a product, and it no longer becomes an issue. This is a Windows application, or this is a Unix application, or this is a Linux application. It becomes, this is an application that can solve a business need.
And then what about the business mindset? Do you have to reinvent the way you price something, market something, position it in the market?
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, Novell had great vision, I think, over their competitors in terms of certainly coming out with an appliance concept, and it was an aggressive discussion that we started with, I think, nearly a year ago. But when you look at our, companies like ours, you've got a price point that sits here, and you've been selling traditionally for maybe 4 or 5 years with an outside sales force, with SEs in the field across the world, and so you have to meet a financial standard here. And suddenly you're going to go and say, hey, we're going to deliver appliances in an e-commerce environment, in a download environment, and that causes heartburn for venture capitalists, board of directors, and everything else. Being disruptive as I am, I basically challenged the board to say that they would never expand to become the $100 million company as long as they continue to use traditional enterprise sales things. So when the appliance came along, and we were able to take the product down and bundle it and put that out in the marketplace, we were able to, we're going to grow our customer base by 100 times here in the next 18 months. And the upscale and the growth of the cloud was the right decision. But I mean, honestly, we couldn't have got it done without Novell being aggressive at the same time, because trying to convince other people to do it, they were well behind in terms of the vision that they had.
What about on the Ingress point of view? Did you have to change any of your business dynamics for this, or was it turnkey in terms of moving forward into the appliance market?
Well, we're in a slightly different position because we are an infrastructure provider to an application provider. Right? So we sit inside other people's applications. And our business model is aligned with theirs. We don't compete with our ISV partners, and what we're looking for is to accelerate their eruption into new markets. So in the case of Groundworks, multiple scale up in terms of the sales channel. Other partners are looking to take their application and put it out through a cloud offering, right? So from our perspective, anytime our application partner can accelerate their path to market, faster, more reliable, more predictable choice of platform, then it increases the velocity at which we can provide our value. I mean, our value is leading open source database provider. We don't compete with our application partners, and we align our business with theirs. And the Novell technology and the Novell approach to market is totally in line with the way we look at the world, so it was a perfect fit.
Backup world, similar or different?
Actually, our experience was in fact almost reverse from what Peter mentioned. Our pricing is higher for our appliance because what we sell is simplicity. So, we develop and sell backup software, and backup, is backside of the back office of a business. So you can't really make it sexy. So the only thing you can do is make it simple. So from day one, our goal has been to make backup as simple as possible. And by having a backup appliance out there, we are cutting down these cycles that somebody has to spend, the IT cycles, and we monetize that. So our backup software, if you just buy the software, is $500, but if you buy our Zamanda backup appliance based on SUSE, that is actually $1,000. And customer pay for it. Customer pay for that added simplicity that comes with the appliance.
So in terms of speed to market, Does everyone agree that the appliance speeds it to market? Or did you hit any bumps along the way as you were looking at this market and basically suffer any pain?
You know, it's not just speed to market, it's actually operational simplicity once you get it installed.
Right.
And when IDC looks at total cost of ownership, the big ticket item is not the hardware, it's not the software, it's the management cost over the long term. So to the extent that an appliance is more simple to run, to manage, to keep current, or whatever it is that your IT staff has to do to keep this thing running, if you can simplify that in an appliance form factor, you've lowered the operational cost.
As ISVs, do you see opportunities to create more and more different appliances, or do you stick with one appliance to gain critical mass? What's sort of the strategy there?
So, I mean, by the way, from a speed to market, we definitely see it. Not only are we able to get our customers to trial our software quicker, we are able to enable much more partners far more quickly than we could in the past. At this point, we are focusing on one or two appliances. The idea is to make the user experience as simple as possible. Talking about the speed bumps, one of the things that we hit was we are targeting the appliance towards the Windows market. So this market, we don't assume any Linux knowledge at all. So when we shipped out the first appliance, we still had some steps where somebody had to log in to do something, and which was a step that we thought was simple, but was not really simple for some of the Windows administrators. So those are the things that we are now fine-tuning.
I think by simplifying the infrastructure layer and getting a reliable product that works very quickly, it also creates an opportunity for other partners to add value on top of that. So our experience with one of our early offerings around a BI appliance, a little data mart in the box if you like, was that systems integrators would then add a layer on top of that. They'd build dashboards for a particular industry.
Right.
And because they didn't have to spend 3 months building the basic building block, they could very rapidly start doing things that differentiated their offering. So I think the ability to provide the building block to the systems integrators is another great positive about this approach.
Okay. Well, now that we've heard a little bit about how you've all gotten started with your software appliance approach, we'll be back in just a minute to talk a little bit about how other ISVs can get started.